Wondering how to become a millionaire and how to retire early on in life? How to reach the road to obtaining $1 million by investing wisely to legit plans. If you want to know how to get to that point of early retirement with $1 million in your account, then watch the video till the end, guys, because trust me, this will take your vision onto a whole next level. Now, without further ado, let's begin. If you want to become a millionaire, it's entirely possible and easier than you think. No snake oil or voodoo. Here are certain realistic strategies that you need to observe to get to that point. $1 million is not a lot of money. The first million is the hardest, which is what people mean when they say it takes money to make money. Once you make the first million, your money starts doing the hard work. So, let's get those $1 million. All right, let's take an example of the character Tom, using whom we will be explaining the stages one by one. At the age of 43, Tom retired from his 9 to 5 at Ford Motor through a combined effort of savings and stock market investments. Although on the day when he graduated college, he didn't have a penny to his name. Tom graduated from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, at the age of 23. He had landed a job at General Motors before even graduating, which everyone in his family applauded him for. Well, today in this video, we will show you 3 stages that Tom went through to reach financial independence. You will see that different things are important at different stages, but please note one thing right from the get-go. If Tom hadn't been investing, had he tried to reach his magic number of $1 million by only relying on his engineering paycheck, he would have shared this tale at the age of 57 instead of 43. You will learn what Tom focused on as a stock market investor, what he focused on outside the world of investing. Stage 1. How Tom went from $0 to $20,000. This is really the getting started stage. During a day at the library, Tom stumbled over a copy of The Richest Man in Babylon. The backside of The Richest Man in Babylon read, "An assured road to happiness and prosperity." Maybe this was just what he needed. Tom borrowed the book. Pay yourself first is the first policy. The book advocated that Tom should pay himself 10% of his salary each month before doing anything else with his money. The stock market is an excellent vehicle for making a decent chunk of money into a massive chunk of money. This early on your road to financial freedom, you should deal with the stock market. After reading The Richest Man in Babylon, he went on to Robert Kiyosaki's book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He learned that a stock market is an excellent place where savings can be converted into assets. Without any former investing experience, though, he soon found himself reading speculative tips on various biotech companies on Reddit. It started off very well, with high initial returns. $5,000 became $10,000 in just a week. Although Tom knew nothing about Warren Buffett yet, he had learned Buffett's most important rule: to never lose money. Actually, he had been so lucky that he learned Buffett's second most important rule too: to never forget rule number 1. Even though the losses were staggering percentage-wise, they were tolerable in terms of dollars. Tom replaced his losses within 2 months thanks to his salary. He realized that the stakes would rise as his savings accumulated and that mistakes would become increasingly expensive. Therefore, Tom decided to become a learning machine. Tom managed to go from $0 to $20,000 in almost exactly 2 years by saving $1,000 from his paycheck each month, working as a junior engineer at General Motors, and losing something like $2,000 by investing in unprofitable nanobiotech companies, and losing $1,000 in brokerage commissions. Stage 2. How Tom went from $20,000 to $100,000. It was Tom's 3rd year at General Motors. What characterizes the second stage is that the stock market is no longer negligible. A good chunk of the $100,000 should originate from stock market returns, else you are doing more heavy lifting than necessary. You might feel empowered by the fact that you are now a person with some means like Tom. But don't let this carry you away from your goal. You don't want to hinder the effects of compounding now that it is just starting to catch some speed. By the time Tom was 27, he was highly interested and engaged in stock market company analysis. He very well remembered the results from his unprofitable nanobiotech speculation period a few years earlier, and now only invested in what he understood and could perform a back-of-the-envelope DCF on. He did not try to make any brilliant or advanced investments, but instead followed Buffett's mantra: "I don't look to jump over 7-foot bars. I look around for 1-foot bars that I can step over." Tom continued his learning regime. Eventually, his responsibilities at General Motors grew, where he was no longer considered a junior. Tom managed to increase his savings from $1,000 to $1,500 per month during this period. Also, he made quite average stock market returns of 10% per year, and together, this turned him into an owner of $100,000 on his 29th birthday. Stage 3. How Tom zigzagged from $100,000 to $1 million. He tried to repeat a Warren Buffett mantra to himself. Half of all coin flippers will win their first toss. None of those winners has an expectation of profit if he continues to play the game. Tom was now in his early 30s, and when it came to materialistic stuff, he was different from most of people. Pretty much everyone at work seemed to be one-upping each other with their cars, their clothes, and their dinner reservations. Basically, showing no signs of frugality whatsoever. Nah, it's not that an expensive lifestyle is wrong, but make sure you understand the opportunity cost of your decisions. Once you open the gate of your stock market account and let a chunk of money out of it, will you be able to close it again? Do not underestimate the power of habits. Right before he was about to turn 31, the stock market crashed. The S&P 500 fell by more than 50% over the course of the year. Technically, this meant that Tom was back at stage 2 again, as he was now below $100,000. But Tom didn't fret. He had been mentally prepared for this moment. Just keep swimming and swimming. Then he remembered, if you are shopping for common stocks, choose them the way you would buy groceries, not the way you would buy perfume. And at that very moment, there were discounts on every single item in the stores. Tom knew that now was not the time to be splurging. Now was the time to be picking up exceptional companies that pessimists couldn't get rid of quick enough. While he usually made something north of 8% per year the markets, he made 30% and 45%, respectively, in the 2 years following the crash. Then, when Tom turned 33, many things happened at once. His portfolio was now contributing more towards his savings each year than his salary was, still with quite average stock market returns around 10%. Then he spent around $30,000 on a house. He remembered that even Warren Buffett spent 10% of his net worth on a house back in 1958. When Tom turned 35, he switched from General Motors to Ford Motor as he was offered a 20% higher salary for the same hours of work. Even with this higher salary, his portfolio returns vastly exceeded his pay during some months during this period. Other months, he could be down by $20,000, making him feel discouraged. This is the period where your patience and perseverance as an intelligent investor will be tested the most. The additional deposits you make will not immediately have a significant impact on the value of your portfolio. While many of his colleagues at Ford increased their working hours, he dedicated those hours to beat the stock market instead, and it paid off. Tom was slowly but surely becoming an investor who beat the market by some margin each year. An overperformance of 4% per year suddenly meant something like $25,000 more in his pocket than the average investor with the same amount of capital would have been able to get. The hourly wage from studying stock market companies was now really lucrative, and it just kept improving. Towards the end of this phase, Tom also started thinking about his half-forgotten passion for photography. He created a small-scale wedding photography firm. Some small extra income would probably make it even easier to quit his job once the day came. Stage 4. Tom's financial freedom. Tom reached $1 million and quit his 9-to-5 to live off his investments before his 44th birthday. More than half of that money came from returns in the stock market, and his investments helped him reach this number 14 years earlier than his salary alone would have done. Reminding y'all that this is not any professional financial advice, but purely based on our own research and opinions. With that, it's the end of the video. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.